Hey folks, says I'm live. Hey Amy, hey Robert, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. I'm very out of it tonight. Trying to recover a bit. Anyway, welcome. Welcome to Restore Belief with Nikki. I'm Nikki. What all? A lot has gone on since last week, and apparently, no, it's this side. Okay, there we go. Topic for today. Let me go up to this first before I do that topic. There we go. Topic for today is the after a person dies, you can actually go through healing or a part of forgiveness. I don't want to necessarily call it forgiveness. There we go. But that's essentially what it is. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight. There's also a number of other aspects of it that we can talk about. I don't expect a very long episode tonight because I am still kind of recovering from the weekend. It's kind of a rough weekend for me. And rougher for the family. That's a great question, Amy. I can actually tell you that in just a moment. Just remind me to go back to your question, because I have an experience with that. So it's just the subject of healing and forgiveness with somebody that is on the other side can happen, does happen. I've been through it with my own father. There was a really good episode of James Van Praagh this past week. Excuse me, and it's only Tuesday. Well, technically, I guess it's Wednesday now. I'm looking up at my other clock. And I highly recommend you listen to that show because it talks about how this woman went through healing and a frame of forgiveness in a way with her spouse. So it's not my story to tell. I highly recommend you go look at Monday. I think it was Monday night. Oh gosh. So technically right now is July 24th. So 23rd, 22nd. So it would have been Monday the 22nd. Go into his lives. Sorry, I'm having a hard time tonight, but I did want to come on because it is a week since I've done the other one. And even though I am out of it, it's important that this information gets talked about. A lot of the different things that we talk about here and all the questions that you folks have. I mean, they're important things to talk about, so we should be talking about them. So my dad, I'm going to bring him up like I did last week, but we didn't get into the forgiveness and the healing side of it. And I know there are people that are not able to forgive, and it's understandable because there were some horrific things that people do to each other, families do to each other, and it's understandable. You have to do what is in your own heart and what is how you understand things, how you let go of anger. Anger is extremely difficult to to release. And I'm living proof of that. I'm still going through it. I say it's a process. It is still very much a process. With certain races of ET. I'm still very angry over that. I shocked and surprised myself. Really shocked myself 2 weeks ago when a spirit came to me, and he was the perpetrator from my childhood. And he came to me, and I screamed and hollered and woohooed. And that was a shock to me, because I thought during the course of my counseling, or shortly thereafter, well, actually it was shortly thereafter, I take that back. It wasn't too long after the intense counseling that I went through, that it was a really big deal for me to, what I thought at the time was, forgive him. And it released, when I did that, it released so many aspects. But apparently, as a 56-year-old woman versus a 30-something-year-old woman, it was a very different ballgame. So when he came to me showing me that he had died, he was absolutely horrified and appalled at my reaction. And I was like, why? I wasn't the only one that you did things to as a child. So that being said, excuse me, that has nothing, that's not emotion. I'm on an antibiotic, guys. I've had a heck of a time with my health lately, and for me to even go on an antibiotic, that's a whole nother subject. People who really know me know I despise antibiotics, but they have a use. And unfortunately, I've had to go on one after not being on any for 7 years. So anyway, and I'm still getting congestion and having to constantly clear my throat. So I do apologize ahead of time. Anyway, somebody please let me know if the audio and the feed is okay. Because last week there were very definite, when I went back to listen, I had to put my volume on high to actually hear. So please let me know if you can hear me and if it's staying stable enough. So please let me know on that, okay? Excuse me. So back to what I was talking about. So the individual who was the perp from my childhood was very shocked and very surprised. I think the adult in me, I think where this comes from is I honestly believe the adult in me had forgiven. The child in me definitely had not. Apparently, I mean, based on my instantaneous reaction. So let me see. I want to be sure that I'm actually being heard. Okay. Anyway, so that said, keep that in mind, because I think that makes a big difference. As to how things play out for folks regarding healing, regarding whether You can allow yourself to forgive that you go through everything. Just be aware of that. Because that came as a heck of a shock to me. I mean, it was very surprising. Okay. On the live. Okay. I just want to be sure that I can be seen and heard, so I'm checking with someone. Anyhow, so regarding my dad, you folks know. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. You folks know what I've talked about regarding my dad. For those that are seeing this for the first time, I had a dad who was an alcoholic. Had throttled in front of my mom an animal dog in front of his mom as well. And what I mean by throttled is had his hands around the neck and was in the process of trying to kill the dog. And because of his rage and his anger, and he wasn't capable of dealing with it or controlling himself, because of the alcohol and because of the rage and the anger. There were deep anger issues. And so eventually he became very angry with my mother about, I have no idea. I do not remember. I know I was there at the time, but based on, there are a number of things that I remember as an infant, even as an infant. Yes, folks, you can remember as an infant. I'm living proof of it. There are many different things that I have memories of as an infant, all the way through a huge portion of my childhood. And then there are things where I've got missing time, and that goes into a whole nother subject. But the point with my dad is that he tried that with my mom. And he had tried to kill her. And left. I remember my grandfather, not when I was a child, but as an adult, long after I'd had my son, a number of years after I'd had, never commented on it. And it was such a betrayal for him because he looked at my dad as a son. Taught him the family business and everything. And so, yeah, we're going over this again. My point, sorry, I just got, anyway. So the thing is that my dad was not like that with me. I have no idea how he was with my step siblings or with his third wife. She and I, after my dad's passing, she and I eventually became friends. And I loved her very much. Probably to the horror of my mom. I never talked to my mom about any of that. My dad had hey, Simon, I'm glad you're here. Thank you. My dad had basically gone through AA, or was in the time frame of going through AA, and for his alcoholism, and it was towards the very end of his life. And I'm very proud of him for being able to do that. He took it very seriously, and it was extremely difficult for him to deal with the talking to people, going to people that he had harmed. Like I said, I don't have any idea how my step siblings, because they were essentially raised by him and their mother, so I have no idea. I wasn't involved in that side of the family at all. So after his passing, my stepmom and I started working on our relationship, and it was a huge blessing to me. Then she passed, and that was hard. Sorry guys, I've had a experience over the weekend that was really interesting and very beautiful as a psychic medium. My point is that as someone who's gone through a great deal in life, and I'm going to start with the tears, God bless it. So basically you can go through forms of forgiveness. It is not easy. It's a hell of a process. Everybody goes through it differently. And if you start to do it, take your time. Seriously, take your time. Because that's a big deal. I did not expect to cry. That totally threw me. Anyway, so just know that it can happen after somebody passes. I never expected my dad, after he passed, to come talk to me. And then he'd start doing these, and I laughingly or jokingly talk about how he used to come and pester the ever-loving shit out of me about water, making sure that I shut the water off when I brush my teeth or wash my hands, and then turn it back on to spit and rinse, or turn it back on to get the soap off. And that's because he lived for more than 30 years in Southern California, and they had a lot of they had a lot of drought issues, and so there were times where the town that he lived in, they had water restrictions. You couldn't water outside plants between a certain time, and you could only have it on for a certain amount of time. It was very interesting. I learned a lot after he died. And of course, not realizing back then that I was a psychic medium. I mean, it was just, I knew my dad was just always there. I could always hear him. And I was like, oh, come on. So, it took a long time. It took a number of years before I did the forgiveness thing. And by that point, my dad had gone from spirit to spirit guide. There for a while, and I didn't make the correlation to this until many, many, many years later, that he had, I knew he wasn't around during a certain time period. And then he was again. And I didn't understand that. Now I understand it. And for him, what he had done is he had gone from being spirit to going through, essentially, no other way to classify this. It's like a college course that they've got over there, where they are taught how to be a spirit guide. So this with my kids, yeah. There comes a point where you've got to teach the kids how to what it really means to save that water, because it's an extremely important commodity. So I was just reading chat. Simon had commented. Yeah, Simon's. Short answer to your question, Simon. Yes, they do. He's saying, do they have a choice being a spirit or a spirit guide? Yes, they do. It's quite okay, Simon. Don't worry about it. And Amy had asked a question, which is an extremely good question. Who goes to purgatory? Well, now here's what I learned because of another spirit. There is a woman. How do I say this without giving? I've already talked about this, but I don't want to get into this case. So this spirit had died a horrible death. She came to me and a number of others on numerous occasions. And it was because she was a missing person, or still is a missing person. That's a whole nother subject. I will not get into that tonight. That's something that'll really, really piss me off. Anyway, point is that because of her, I found out that she classified herself as being in purgatory. And because I kept asking her, who are these beings that are around you? Why are they preventing you from talking? What is going on? And she said, both to me and to another psychic that was with me at the time, that she's in what she calls purgatory. And I went, what do you mean? Are you Catholic? What is your belief system? Please explain this to me. And she said that she and one of her parents were doing things that they shouldn't be doing, such as forms of necromancy and dark magics and doing things with animals and bones and things of that nature. They were actually, some very heavy stuff. And basically, she informed me through being completely engulfed, encased, surrounded, whatever you want to call it, by these beings. And it wasn't just beings. They were specific kinds of angels. I'm trying to think if it was 1, 2, or 3 days later that's when I found out what these beings were. I had never experienced those kind of beings before. And they were dark. I don't want to say they were not of God, but they had a goal with her. And they weren't demons. They were forms, because I remember seeing wings with them. And I'm like, wait a minute, why are these beings with wings? Why are they? I mean, it was really intense. And so she essentially explained to me that she was calling it purgatory, and that because she had done things in her living life in this physical body at the time that they were doing some very dark things. And she basically said that she was in purgatory. Now, when I've talked to other spirits and I've talked to angels, they don't call it, "Hey, Tim, welcome. It's good seeing you." They didn't classify it as purgatory. But basically, because she had been doing the kind of things that she was doing, they would not release her in any shape or form. And she wanted to let me know just how important it was to have a conversation with me about aspects of her life and what had actually happened and why it had happened. And unfortunately, I have learned that police departments don't want information from a psychic. They are very, very much against it. And the mother knows that this woman is deceased, so do not, I mean, I have real issues with her. But anyway. So my point is Amy, you had asked about purgatory. I don't, and the other side, not the other side, but the other situation of this, she classified it as purgatory. Angels that I talked with, they didn't classify it as purgatory. They specifically told me that what actually takes place is they go to like a form of a college and go through a form of it's essentially a form of rehab for the soul until they are basically converted back to not the evil, the evil that overtook the soul. So I hope that answers your question, Amy. It's something that you don't really hear about other people talk about. That's the other thing that just really astounds me. You hear so many people, so many psychics specifically, or mediums, talk about how it's this way or that way, period. End of story, end of discussion. No, it's not. It's not like that at all. I mean, the angels that I had talked with, they had specifically stated, this is how we want you to think of it, because in your vernacular, or language, there's no other way to really say this. And it's a form of life. It's essentially, depending upon how wicked the things that soul has done, or how evil that soul has become, they go into this form of, as you're calling it, a form of purgatory. And I know people that call it that. But that's where they stay. And so when I had this perp, the childhood perp that I had experienced as a child, show up to me a couple weeks ago, and I had my very shocking response to him. I demanded from God and Jesus, why was he not? Because he had done so many vile things to children. Why was he not surrounded by those type of beings. Well, it was a different form of evil. It's basically what I got told. And because this girl, she's not a teenager. I keep thinking of her as a teenager. She's not. This young woman, had done so much evil in a different way, not against children, but against adults, teenagers and adults, from the time that she was growing up. And her mother had taught it to her. I'm tired, Tim. Thank you. I am happier, but I'm tired. The energy on the property is much, much better. Although the maintenance folks and the office staff were just wonderful to me. So I appreciate that. But I haven't had any issues here. Anyway, so, and thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just very, very tired right now. So basically, that's what I learned. So regarding the forgiveness, so I had asked God and Jesus, why is this person not in the college? Why is he allowed to be roaming, what to me appeared to be roaming free? I got very angry over that. And it was because he was escorted. It's kind of like he was on a tether, but for whatever reason, I wasn't seeing the tether. Just dropped something, sorry. I don't know how else to explain it, but he was not alone. But the being that was with him was so far, or the angel, I should say, the angel was so far away, I literally didn't see him. So that's what I learned. It was a really, really big surprise. Yeah, Simon says, I never understood the book of Ra where good and evil don't matter, just experience never sat well with me. Yeah, based on, I've learned so much from the hierarchies, the angels, God himself, Jesus himself. It's just been a true mind bender to me as to what all takes place. So Amy, to kind of finish this part of it up regarding purgatory, he was in his own form of purgatory, but hey, Christine, he was in his own form of purgatory, but it's not what the one woman who was doing all sorts of evil with true necromancy, it wasn't like what she was doing. And that's the difference. I don't know what happens other than what I was told by the hierarchies and the angels about how people are put into these, essentially these forms of different level lockdown or different level colleges. And I'm wondering if the perp that came to talk to me was allowed to come to talk to me. I was so livid at the time. I was the little girl in me. The instantaneous reaction that I had to the perp that showed up, deceased wise, showed up as spirit form. When he showed up, and I literally got up and screamed, "Woohoo! Your mother is gone. You're dead out of this life. I was ecstatic. That was not the adult in me. That was the little kid in me. And it was such a shock to me, the woman in me. I was like, where the hell did that come from? I'm like, because that's not a typical reaction for me. Not by any stretch. So it's taken me the 2 weeks to go, oh my, where the heck did that come from? And this is why. And then when I really started delving into it more, because I had honestly, I thought the little girl in me obviously did not forgive. The adult in me, back then, the 30-something-year-old in me had forgiven. But the little girl in me had not. And it was such a shock. So, Amy, I hope that answers your question. Simon, I hope I've answered yours as well. Sorry, folks. Speaking of which, I need to take. So, there we go. Forgiveness can release. Okay, good. Forgiveness can release things. Which is a good thing. It can release your soul for moving on. Do I agree that you have to forgive? No. I don't think you have to do anything. It's a choice. It's what your heart and what your soul feels. When I did it, and I never used to be like that when I was in my 30s or even in my 40s. I was very much of the belief system you do have to forgive. Now I'm of the belief system of you don't have to, but it does do your soul good if you can. But it's a choice. And it comes down, and what I found out as an experience, it boils down to how you want to live your life with that kind of energy in your body, on your soul, how you want to operate on a daily basis. It does affect you. And that's what I learned about it. Because this stopped affecting me once I let go as the adult. I didn't realize that it was still on my soul as the child part of me. I literally thought that I had released that. And it apparently... thank you, Danny, for subscribing. I appreciate that. I just got a notification. So it became knowledge. And I worked through an awful lot of shit. No other way to say that. I worked through an awful lot of shit regarding my dad and I. And that's a big deal. My mom's going to have to do that on the other side. She is not capable of doing that on this side. She's not mentally there, folks. She's got Alzheimer's dementia. Both, actually. One's a form of the other, but that's a total... I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, and that's something that her soul has to do for herself. But she's not mentally competent to be able to do that right now. So that's something after she passes. So, okay, now I've got to move this because otherwise I cannot see the... There we go. Yeah, I understand that. Simon says, I don't feel like I need to forgive. It's important to me to get on with it and be happy. I totally understand that. I fully understand that more than I really I get it. Yes, I agree, Lynn. Christy, sorry. Christine, I read your last name first. I apologize. Anyway, she says, yes, so agree with that. You don't have to forgive, but I think you need to forgive yourself and let go of the pain. Yeah, I completely agree with that. You've got to, something that happened to you as a child or as a teenager or as an adult, it happened to you. You didn't have control of it. So, but you experienced it. I've had a lot of things like that. I was trying to remember how old I was. I was 8 years old and was beaten by a teenager, 17-year-old girl. So, held down and beaten. And so, yeah, it's, I had to, and how do I explain this? As somebody who has gone through all the different things I've gone through, and I think about the things that the ET/military taught me, and things that I was going through back then. I had to forgive myself because I felt like I deserved it, but I didn't, even though I was being told that I deserved it. I had to forgive myself as that kid because I had been taught by that point in time as a child from the ET and the military who were doing the I call it a cattle prod. I just don't remember. It's a military device back in the 70s. I just don't remember. It reminds me of a cattle prod. But it was this black, well, the first one was silver, but this black device. And because I was too defiant, I wouldn't do what I was ordered to do, and I was too defiant, according to them. Now that's something that I will never need to forgive myself on, because I did fight back. Whereas I did not, and I'll get to that in just a minute, Simon. I did not stand up for myself, even though there were other people involved in that one. One that was forced into it, and also one that was not, that was a willing participant. And so, and I knew the one that was forced into it, it's probably somewhere in the back of the recesses of her mind at some point. That is not even an issue with me. That with her is not even an issue, because she and I, it's not even a point of contention. 16, 17-year-old, however, and me being 8, that's a different story. But I had to forgive myself. But regarding the other side, the point is that when you have a spirit coming around you, such as a family member who, like the way my dad did this, I mean, and the fact that I could hear him or feel him or sense him in some fashion or form, whether I was going to the local library or whether it was, sorry, that just popped into my head because of something else somebody else had said, something that somebody else had said just the other day. And it reminded me of a couple of situations where my dad was with me almost 24/7 on the other side. And it just, forgiveness and the other side, it can happen. Please don't think it cannot. It can. But both parties have to be willing. That's the difference. Okay? So that's really what I wanted to talk about. Was it comes down to if somebody, I was going to say an ET, that is not what I meant. Good grief. If a spirit wants you to be more aware, they will do whatever they can to do that, whether your TV goes on and off, your radio goes on, lights flicker a specific way. Okay, now I am going to say this, I am going to clarify this because this is important. If you have lights flickering, please check your electricity because it may not be paranormal. Always do your due diligence first before you go to automatic paranormal, because I know people that are like, it's always spirits. No, by God, it's not. There are very real things in this life. Go for those first and then weed everything out. Please. So, or even the slamming of doors when nobody's around. I mean, hello, you could have a draft in a very specific way, and it can literally, low-lying fruit, it can literally, just because you've got a window open here and one over here, it can literally slam a door shut in another room. So think critical thinking, use your critical thinking skills first before you go to the paranormal. Weed everything else out first. Okay. But yeah, if a spirit really wants and you wants to get your attention and has shown many different levels and you have done your due diligence, it's very possible you got a spirit who's trying to get your attention, go, hey, or even for that matter, leaving you pennies or nickels or dimes or in unexpected places, or even feathers. And I mean, there's so many different things. Okay, so Simon had asked me a question. Where the heck was it? Nikki, why are they so mean? Simon, I'm assuming you're talking about the ETs that are working with the military. Let me know if that's what you meant. Yes. Okay. Oh, the ET. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know why the military. I mean, I can take a wild guess at why the ETs or why the military is working with a faction. I've been recently told you might want to say that differently because it's not all, it's different levels of factions of government, and boy was that person correct. And they're exactly right, so I thank them for that. But yeah, there are factions of really deep government that are working with ETs, and the military are gaining quite a lot of knowledge out of it, and are able and capable of doing a wide range of things. In some situations, not all, but in some situations, they are, for whatever reason, abducting kids, teens, and adults. And they're using them, teaching them very specific things and using them in very specific ways. Some of it's not so good. But why are they so mean? Why are the ETs so mean about it? Because they can be. They have not all ETs. See, that's the thing. This is one specific race species of ET. Not all ETs are like this. There are some that don't want anything to do with humans. There are others who want to teach us. There are still others who want to be left alone. So, and there are some who are very science oriented, and then there are others who need our genetics. And females, they need the human female eggs to create hybrids for specific reasons. So it's all comes down to a fascinating subject. Used to get dimes all the time. Yeah. Aports, materialized items, coins, feathers, long lost items. Yes. So that was from Amy. She's right. Spirit is very well known for doing that. So is ET, and so is feathers. Angels. I couldn't think of them. So Dave from SOR said it the other day, not everything is a conspiracy. He's right. I fully agree. Not everything is a conspiracy. People that are in the field, I mean, they know. You've got to use critical thinking skills. It's really important. Kind of a big deal. So anyhow, about 52, 53 minutes into this. So that's kind of what I really wanted to talk about tonight was, if you've got a perp that is on the other side or that is not, have you thought about forgiveness, or have you thought about the adult in you? If it was a child experience, have you thought about the adult in you and how it affects the child in you? If not forgiveness, if that's not how you choose to go with things, then have you thought about healing different sections of you? It's the other side of it. So, because the more you go through healing, let me tell you, that is not an easy thing. Oh my God, the amount of times I wanted to I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I don't mean life. That's not me. But I was like, I don't want to deal with this subject anymore. Why am I dealing with no, done. No. So it takes time. You have to allow yourself, and sometimes it gets forced on you. Yeah. Simon just said, my aunt is a psychic. When my dad died last year, he guided her and she found white feathers. She put them on his coffin. Right on. Wings in flight. That's what that reminds me of. I have no idea, Amy. Amy's saying, how could I request an Aport of a gold coin daily? You can always put it out there and ask. You never know what comes up. Sometimes they'll do it, sometimes they won't. You know, you can just ask. You know, that's the other side of things. How well are you at manifesting? Just because you want something, I mean, there's a difference. I mean, you know, an actual need, a true, honest need versus a situation where it's a want. There's a big difference, and I know you know that. But who answers when you ask, Nikki? Who answers? Oh God. Well, let's see. That's a long list. Usually it starts with my dad. Then it comes in with either one of my great aunts. Depends on which one, or how much they. I don't want to say that. I'm not gonna. I had a great aunt who would just really not like the fact that I'm doing what I'm doing right now, being the psychic medium publicly. She wouldn't like it at all. And I understand that. I get it. Okay, I gotta move because my leg's starting to hurt. Hang on a second, guys. So anyhow, you know, it's also one or both of my grandfathers. My stepdad, once in a blue moon, my stepdad will say something. One of my other spirit guides, heck, even one of the ET guides that is, she's alive. Let's put it that way. But I still call her a guide. I don't know what else to call her. She's telepathic, and for whatever reason, she gets told. I believe how it works for her, between her and I. She gets told what the question is, and then she'll be telepathic with me. But I still call her a guide. I don't know what else to call her. So that's who answers me, but usually it's my dad. Sometimes I'll get, like last week, I had that very famous person who asked me not never, he asked me not to name him, which I still won't do that. Every once in a while, it's a famous person. I mean, I've had so many different famous people come and talk to me that I'm just, and I'm astounded each time they do it. It's just absolutely astounding me. Astounding to me is how I should say that. Sorry. Simon's saying, when general people ask to manifest something, I meant, who makes it happen? Your personal answer was better, by the way. Thank you, Simon. In general, when general people ask to manifest something. Okay, manifestation works it's not asking to manifest. It's about what you have learned in your life and how you think. This is one of the reasons why I say it is so vital, so important to change your way of thinking from negative to positive, from changing your self-talk. And for those that do self-talk, because I only found out last year that not everybody has self-talk. So, and then there are folks that their brain just never shuts up. So, and how you self-talk absolutely, in my opinion, must be shifted from the negative to the positive. Getting rid of the what ifs in your thinking, getting rid of even the little negatives. And of course, I literally am not able to think of them right now. I mean, if I sat down and typed it out, it would just start popping up for me. But for whatever reason, doing this live broadcast, it's not popping up. So, and that's fine. It's just how it is. That's how my brain is working right now. And that's especially after the targeting, more so after the targeting that I've experienced. So, because that targeting has affected my brain in a very specific way. But interestingly enough, it hasn't screwed with the memories that I've got about the book. Hello, MFers. I'm speaking directly to you, government asshats. I still remember everything about that book. So you get multiple middle fingers. Anyway, my take on that one. What do you think, folks? Anyway, so that's where my anger comes out. And that was a polite anger. Anyway, but regarding the manifestation, and see, that's the negative that I've got to work on. I'm like, oh, crap. So, yeah, thanks, Nikki. Deep breaths. Exactly, Simon. So it's just when you shift your energy. Okay, speaking of energy shift. Okay, there we go. When you shift your energy, you literally change the dynamics for how you manifest. When you shift your self-talk in your brain from the negative to the positive, or da, 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 there we go. However you want to look at that. It was something to do with hands. Anyway, it literally, you're able to typically manifest much quicker. It's not about the whining or the crying that a person may do, or however you want to classify it, or the need being the greatest. It's about shifting the energy inside of you to make things happen. It's part of a mindset, and it's very difficult for some people, especially if they've had an extreme amount of negativity and may not have gone through counseling, or haven't gone through counseling but have gone through a shift where in a positive direction. So it's literally about the shift in energy in yourself from negativity to positivity. Okay, so I'm starting to miss things. Amy, my request. Per every okay. Okay, so this is from Amy. My request to manifest ratio is about 1 or 2 manifests per every 10 requests. I am not sure if that is normal or not. So basically, yours is about the numbers. That's basically what that says. And that's actually pretty good because some people aren't even capable of doing that yet. So it's about keep shifting the energy within your soul, in your body, in your brain, and more things will take place, or at least hopefully will take place. It's everybody's different, so sorry, folks. I'm still trying to come off of this weekend. It was a really rough weekend. We had a funeral / celebration of life that I attended on Sunday, and it was a really good thing. It was a major blessing, but it was very, very hard. Excuse me, in that the psychic and medium in me became severely overloaded. Overwhelmed, I don't know what you want to call it, but it happened to me. And then I had a medical crisis on top of it, which kicked in a lot of problems. So, okay. Wow. That was weird. That was right on the edge. That shouldn't have happened. So, yeah. Nikki went very, very, very red face. From like here up, my face was bright red, and it got very, very bad. So, okay, Christine says, ask the universe for what you want, but change the way you ask and manifest. Say, I am wealthy, or I have abundance, or I welcome abundance in all forms into my life. That is what I have been taught. Yeah, it's so Christine, the I am wealthy or I have abundance, for some people that will not work. I completely agree, but I have since learned that for some people that will not work because they are so in a specific mindset regarding projection, and it is incredibly difficult for them in regards to projection. And that was a heck of a mind blower to me when somebody was talking to me about that. I had to wrap my head around that because they were asking me, how do you manifest when this is how you think? And I was like, whoa, okay, that's a completely new section of everything. It was a true mind bender in how do I help this individual in thinking in the way they think. And see, that's how very much how I've been taught as well, Christine. And I found for some folks it doesn't work because it's literally a difficult issue for them for it's like a form of projecting their future, and it's not what they are at that given moment in time, and they have a hard time wrapping their own mind around it. Boy, was it a mind bender to me when I was taught this from somebody. And so for some people, and how you and I were taught, that works. But in others, wow, it really does not, because it's like, well, that gets, and it's how you think. It's how your brain was literally created. then I'm trying not to use a specific word. So, or a specific phrase right now. So, because if I do, then it leads into a whole another section. So, it's in how you think. It boils down to how you think. And if that is not how you think and you are not capable of that, then you have to find another way that you can think of it so that you can manifest. I think there are some folks who would be absolutely excellent at manifesting if they had the knowledge for their specific way of thinking, if that makes sense. Okay, let me get back to this. Would still work if I said no. Amy's asking, will it still work if I subcontract manifesting tasks to those around me? No. It's literally from the individual. Amy, let's talk about that privately. Yeah, that's a life situation. It's phrase. Okay. Simon's asking for a phrase. I don't know. On the spot. Okay, hang on a minute. I just gotta move. Okay, beep, beep, beep. Hang on a minute. I gotta write something down. This is how my brain works, so just a second. Let's see, is this safe? Yeah, okay. I can do it over here. Okay, one is I am valuable. Oh, the phrase I wouldn't say before. No, because that boils down to the phrase I wouldn't say before boils down to a certain group of individuals, and I don't want to call anybody out. That's why I wasn't going to say it. But regarding manifestation, for example, I am valuable. I am capable. So it's no negative words in there. There's not an I want. It is an I am statement. And those are pretty powerful statements. I am capable of calmness. I am capable of doing. Not doing what it is, but of doing. I am capable. So here's a shift in energy towards money. Now, it's the shift that's important, because once you do the shift, then you can get into eventually the next set of phrases. So I am capable of building wealth. Okay. So once you get into that mindset, you're shifting your energy, your paradigm into starting to figure out how to do that. Then when you get to that level, then it goes from moving what you had just said into another phrase. I am building wealth. I am shown how to build wealth. And then keep moving it forward. When you do that, it makes a major difference. Now, it makes a difference not only within your soul, also, here's the other thing. Start posting those. This is the other little tip and trick that I learned from others, and it makes a major difference, is if you write those down in your own handwriting or printing it, because if you can't write it neatly, then maybe the thing to do is to print it and tape it. Painter's tape if you're in an apartment or, you don't want paint coming off or something, but tape it, that saying, around your home. Whatever that saying is, that it is the item that you would like to be doing or have. If you want to be in a new home environment, start cutting pictures out of similar homes or similar apartments or similar dynamics of what it is that you want. Start creating little, doesn't have to be very big, little 5x7 piece of paper. Put little images out on it. And start putting those around. I want a positive home environment. I want a positive home. I want a new home. I want whatever it is. It's not about the want or really the need. It's about shifting the energy within you, if that makes sense. So, I am loved. Yes. Simon, I've always liked I am loved. Even if you are alone in a YouTube chat, then someone who can be kind. Yeah. Sorry, I've got a chat. Then or them. Anyway, so basically, yeah, many chats. Sorry. Oh God. I said chap, CHAPS, instead of chats, CHATS. I literally, when I said chaps, I literally saw White Christmas, a scene out of White Christmas. Oh, for God's sake. Anyhow, so YouTube chat, there's someone who can be kind. That makes more sense. Okay. So there's a number of different ways to deal with manifestation. Number of ways. It's not only in how you think, believe, and breathe it is what was just told to me. It's also in how you change your energy. It's also, hey, Jim, good morning. It's also in how you look at things around you, change your brain in your thinking, and it's also in what you start posting around yourself, so that you're not looking at the same old 24/7, or however long it is. I mean, coming and going from work and home every day. You're posting on your walls literally what you want to start seeing happen. And it can be a very short amount of time in manifestation, or it can take a number of years. It just depends on a number of factors. And some of those factors also have to do with the other side and how they can start putting this into your life. So if it's something really big that needs to shift and change, then that may take some doing on the other side. So like, I know that where I've moved to was a 3-year wait in process. And it wasn't really until It wasn't really until a friend of mine, who was also another psychic medium, told me something very specific, and I went, "Oh, duh, okay." It takes Things take a while sometimes. And the other specific situation with this, it's not just about the timing factor. It's also comes down to one's perception. Wow, I literally got told the shifting sands of time, quote, end quote. Wow. Okay, that apparently is for somebody specific. I have no idea who that's for. Don't really care who it's for, but apparently it had to be said. The shifting sands of time. Okay. Anyway, there are folks in chat who are having a good conversation. That's awesome. So things can take what? Oh, timelines. That's where I was going to say. Timelines sometimes have to shift in a person's life. That's the other side of things. Please keep in mind that timelines can shift. Some major event can take place off somewhere completely away from you, and it shifts timelines. So, things can take place. So remember this, everything that we do in our life is about a choice. And I just got my leg rubbed up against by a cat. And I'm not seeing a cat. And now I'm hearing a cat. Oh my God, Max. Sorry, folks. Yesterday I had made a comment out loud how much I had missed Max. He's here right now. Oh my God. Oh my God. I have a ghost. Yeah, I've got a lot of ghost animals. I've had a lot of animals in and out of my life over the years. And the last 3 years, I lost my 19-year-old, 20-year-old cat. I don't remember. He's either 19 or 20. And yeah, he was very much loved. And before he died, he had told me, literally as we were on the way to a vet appointment, he's like, It was the first and only time he was ever telepathic with me. He's like, I want to die at home, Nikki. And I was like, you spoke to me. I was like, I turned around in the car. I was like, he was in the back seat at his carrier, and he was not doing well at the time. And I was like, you spoke to me. Oh, I'm like, oh, you stinker. I heard you. You just said it. So, anyway, yeah. Wow. That caught my attention. Literally yesterday, or Monday, had just said how much I had missed Max. And he shows, okay, that's going to get my heart going. I'm going to cry over that one. Oh my God. And now I don't sense him. I'm like, oh, I take it back. He's on the couch. Okay. I don't see him. That's a bizarre. Anyway, I love it when stuff like that happens unexpectedly. It's very sweet. It's just kind of blown away. And that means a lot to me. Yeah, he's coming to cheer me up. There comes when the kids are upset. Yeah. Yesterday was I was recovering, and so Sunday, so a friend had died in May, and they did his service and his celebration of life on Sunday, and it was truly, as a psychic medium, everything that I got to see, I'm gonna start bawling. Anyway, I just it was a hard day. It was a really hard day. It was a hard day for his family and everyone, but I got to see something. Both he and his deceased wife surrounded their adult children and their grandchildren, all their grandchildren, and I got to witness that, actually psychically see them standing next to their kids. And then I had very specific messages for his current wife and the kids, and then it was so shocking that the way I got to see them. I don't normally, when I'm at a funeral or a celebration of life, I don't typically see the way I saw psychically saw on Sunday. I see usually very differently. And it was a mind bender. And it literally started from the moment I hugged one of the kids. And it was just like one of the adult kids. I was just like, whoa. All of a sudden, I was just like, wow. And then it became the entire day. So, and I got to count this off. Hang on a second, guys. So for 3 straight hours, I was psychically seeing. And hey, Robert, psychic spinning. So, yeah. And there was something that really, there were a few things that really deeply, deeply affected me. And one of them I've already stated. What is the hair doing now? Oh, hair's getting wonky again. And Okay, I'm missing a word, Simon, so I'm going to wait until another line in the chat goes up one, and then I'll answer your question because I'm missing one word, and it's just because there's a little heart over it. I literally can't read the words, so I want to be sure that I get everything. Anyway, my point is that the amount, there we go. Why does death upset you? Okay, I will answer that in just a moment. There's a very good answer to that. I will tell it to you. What Robert says that heart. Oh yes. So basically, this one incident when I was sitting down, and welcome to the 9 people in chat. I appreciate you coming. Please click on like and subscribe if you haven't already, and share it out if it's something that you're interested, if the subject's something you're interested in, or if one of the other videos that I've done is something that you're interested in, please share it out. It helps with the algorithms. I really appreciate it. And especially since I'm under 200 subscribers, so it definitely helps with the algorithms. Anyhow, my point is that something significant had taken place towards the very, very end. And that deeply affected me. I've only ever said anything to a few people who were there at the time, and I was just so stunned by what I saw. And it was a blessing. It was truly, truly beautiful. It was heartfelt. It was 2 spirits. Essentially, what I can say publicly, it was 2 spirits coming together and then departing. And the love between them was absolutely incredible. And the love that they had individually for other people, wow, off the freaking charts. So as a psychic medium, I was completely overwhelmed with not just in knowing these individuals individually and as a former couple, but also knowing how their souls are now. And they're both totally fine. They're both very well. And individually, it was what I mean. They're both individually very, very well. Not necessarily, on one side, not necessarily happy about being gone, physically gone from this life, because their kids and their grandkids are here, and they really wanted to be spending more time. And their significant others are on this side, and that's a tough thing. Yeah, that's tough. So I mean, I get that, but yet at the same time, I think they're going to be sticking around for a long time until those grandbabies are grown. But that's just a personal opinion. That I don't know that for a fact, and neither one of them have told me otherwise. But and then I had my own medical crisis at the same time I was experiencing all of this psychic stuff. So it got kind of dangerous for me. So I wasn't capable of walking anymore, and I just had to go sit basically in a corner. So, okay, so back to, okay, Simon, Nikki, knowing what you know about spirits and all of it, why does death upset you? And I mean that in the nicest way. You are fine, honey. I've always said anybody can ask me anything. Whether I'm going to answer it or not is a different subject, or is a different story. But regarding that, why does death upset me? I'm glad it okay, on one hand it doesn't. I'm glad for the soul that they're able to be released. On the other aspect of that, it upsets me because personally, honey, you got to remember, I've lost over 25 people in my lifetime. In this lifetime, I stopped counting at 25 deaths. Okay. I look at death very, very differently than many other people do. And I've come across psychics and mediums who do not look at it the way I do. And then I've come across others who do. So everybody is very different in what they believe, how they believe it, and why they believe it. I get very upset at death himself. Angel of death. I've had conversations with him before. And I get why folks die. There are medical reasons. There are life choices and things that happen with people, and unexpected situations that may not have been part of their soul contract. Soul contract is a totally different ballgame. So why does death bother me? Because I don't have, personally, I no longer have access to that person on a regular basis like I did before. It's very different. Doesn't mean that I can have, while somebody's on the other side, I can have a full-blown conversation with them. It doesn't work like that. You get sentences or phrases or words here and there or images, or depends on how each individual psychic medium receives their information. I receive mine in so many different levels, on so many different ways. But I also have to be open to it. And there are many times where I'm going about my day and I'm not thinking of being a psychic or a medium, and I'm not thinking about, I'm just living my daily life. And like everybody else. And boom, there's the person. And I like being able to pick up the phone. I like being able to pick up the phone and have a true open-ended conversation with my friends and my loved ones. And I miss that. I miss not being able to hug them. Or to, for example, one person was extremely artistic. Another person was extremely artistic and extremely music-oriented. And so there are many different aspects of death that I get very frustrated over with. It's a form of not having access the way that we did before. For example, here's something. Okay, first I gotta switch. My sciatica is starting to kick in. Woo! Ouch. Okay, so basically, hugs. I'm a hugger. One of the things that I miss about certain people is they were huggers too. Now I'm a shorty. I'm, depending upon who you talk to, I'm either 5'3" or 5'2.5". And most folks are much taller than me. Much taller than me. And so hugs Sorry, my body's really bothering me right now. So hugs are a big deal. And when you hug somebody, you exchange energy. And a hug is usually pretty loving and caring. Unless it's like a business hug or, kind of like one of those half hugs and things like that. That's kind of like a half-hearted hug, but they're not, or the person may not be fully comfortable with the individual that they are hugging. So it could be a completely different ballgame. But my point is that you're exchanging energy. It's like a handshake. You're exchanging energy. When you connect hands with somebody, you have energy of an energy for not a vortex. You have energy coming out the palms of your hands. When you shake somebody's hand, you're literally exchanging energy. Same thing with a hug. So, for example, if you're having a bad day and somebody comes and they have positive energy and they come to give you a hug and say, hey, I'm here for you or whatever, they're literally releasing their positive energy into you. And depending upon how they receive energy, they may clear yours or they may take in your energy and then clear it. It's just, there's so many different levels to that one alone. But that's why I get upset about death, is because you no longer have that physical contact. You no longer have absorb energy. Yes. You no longer have that that regular contact, easy contact that you once had. I understand that souls, all of us, have different things that we have to go on with our soul. Different kinds of business, whatever that is. So it's just part and parcel. But the act of death itself is like, I get very frustrated with how some people die, because it's just, it logically, as a human, no rhyme and reason for some people going through such horrible pain. And it's just like, ugh. And then I make the realization, well, some people are going through that because they have a soul contract. This is one of the things that I realized about my mother. Boy, let me tell you, that was a hard one. And boy, did I get pissed off about it. And then I went, oh my God, when I finally got through the anger side of it and went back and went, oh my God, my mom is doing this for me. This is because I'm supposed to be learning ... And I'm like, oh, Mom, why? And I'm like, you do whatever it is you do for your kids. That's why. So there are different levels, different things, and some people are going to agree with me, some people are not. That's fine. You don't have to agree with me. I don't expect you to agree with me. That's okay. Everybody has their own viewpoint. This is my viewpoint on it. This is how I have seen things. This is what my personal experience is. So, and wow, I didn't expect to be on for an hour and 43 minutes, as tired as I've been. That's all right. What would cheer me up right now? Well, I'm not sad per se. I'm just tired. I'm just very tired. What would cheer me up right now? Well, I can't verbally say what will cheer me up right now. There are people, what I can say is there are people in my life that I would love to see that would completely cheer me up right now. And I got to see a couple of those folks on Sunday. That was, yeah, Robert knows. He just said a new working phone and better internet. That's to say the least. That's only a smidgen. Oh my god. Better working body too. But yeah, new working phone. Yeah, a newer phone that that's a headphone jack. A much updated version of what I've got. Yeah, can't give all the secrets away. Yeah. Yeah, there are a number of things that would make me very happy. So, getting to hear from certain individuals that I deeply love that I haven't heard on the other side that I haven't heard from in a while. A number of other things would people that are living on this side that I would love to hear from. Two of them showing up, that would make me ecstatic. Separately showing up, if they don't, my god. Oh, the fight between the two of them, if they showed up together, holy shit balls. No. Don't need that. But individually, yeah, I would love. Yeah, so what are you doing? Fantastic. Oh, sorry, whoa, did I read that wrong? Sorry. You are doing fantastic work, Nikki. I wish the best for you and everyone here. Thank you, Simon. I very much appreciate that. Like I said, I'm not sad. I'm tired. I need to be able to fully rest, and there's so many things that have to get done in order to complete different things that there's not really enough time to be able to do that. Simon, why not do an earlier show? No, I don't do coffee. But yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Why not do an earlier show? Well, this week I might do another show Thursday into Friday. Ouch. Because I believe SOR is not on this week. I think it's this week that they're taking off. I don't remember. Okay, I've got to readjust. That hurts. Okay. I love my chiropractor. He wants me to do those squeaks for him. I'm like, I'll even sign you a waiver for he's got a haunted house that they play in their waiting room. And he wants me to record all the squeaks and oddity sounds. He goes, oh, they are really good. You're the only one that I know that can get that high of a pitch. And he's right. Unfortunately, the only way that I can do those high pitches are from when I'm in really serious pain. So she needs coffee IV stat because she starts as soon as Dave is finished. Yeah. That would be an oddity for Dave. Yeah, so basically the reason I don't do one any earlier is typically because Dave's show ends officially ends at midnight, but doesn't because he does the oh my god, I can't think of what it's called. He does not the revamping. cutting. He takes certain things out of the show. I can't think of what it's called right now. Anyway, and so while he's doing that, he leaves the show live. Well, not the radio side, but the YouTube side. And editing. Thank you, Dad. Appreciate that. Heard that. Anyway, private thing between father and daughter. Anyway, God. Oh, anyhow, so he does editing, and sometimes that'll go for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes up to, and then he'll sometimes still have his guest on, and he'll talk to folks until, it used to be until 12:38 a.m. Pacific time. And the last few times it's been until 12:15 or 12:30. So and last week, if I remember right, it was until about 12:38. Excuse me, because I had a number of things to talk about. So all the glow stick. Go after or do 2 shorter shows. Gotta sleep, girl. Yeah, I actually I took a nap earlier and I'm still tired. It's just because my body is worn out and because of this psychic stuff. I just really, I was on for 3.5 hours straight, psychic wise. And it really, it was a specific way I was on. It's not how I'm on for like a reading. I don't do readings very often anymore, but I still do them. I just recently had I thought I could do it today, or technically, I guess yesterday. I was not capable of doing it. I found out the hard way I was not able to do that. And so it really made a kind of a big deal. So I rescheduled it, but I don't always do readings like I used to do readings quite frequently, and now I'm like, no, I'm with the move and trying to deal with the tech issues that we had here and the targeting and all this other crap. And then I had the ETs and speaking of which, that's what I was going to tell you guys. FYI, if you're an ET abductee and you hear the clicking of the grays, oh, that was the upstairs bedroom door. Okay, got it. If you hear, because the grays, how they talk to each other is they do this click, 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 click. It's very fast. And it's very specific. Sorry, I was reading chat. Anyway, so Sunday, before I was about to leave to go to the service, to the celebration of life, was literally in the process of putting on my shoes. Just gotten around the corner and just gotten to go get my shoes on. And 2 grays standing where my bed is. It's like they were standing in my bed. How else do you explain that? They're not in... they're in their own frequencies, so they're like this phase shifting in my in the middle of my bed, and they're literally, I brought my shoes into my room. No, I brought my shoes into my room, and sorry, I was trying to think of, was this when I was getting my socks on, or was I with? No, it was I was just gotten my socks on, and I was just so anyway, they're standing in my bed. And I had just been standing at my chair, sitting at my chair, and stood up, and I hear them with each other, and I'm like, I lost it. I don't lose it very often. I literally said, are you freaking kidding me? I am heading to a funeral. This is not the day to abduct me. So I'm here to tell you, as an ET abductee, if you are an ET abductee and you recognize the clicking sound that the grays make, because these are the tall white grays, because it's always, doesn't matter which race that abducts me. It's always the tall whites that pick me up. Technically, they knock me out and then take me up, but that's a different subject. That's a totally different thing. Anyway, point is that I heard them and I lost my shit. I was like, no. I don't care who you're with this time around. You're not taking me today. This is too damn important to me. No way. I don't care what you've got on your... I was pissed, royal. And one of the things that the targeting, that the government Asshats targeting has done to me is it's screwed with the device that the ETs have in my left, because for me, this is my left ear. And I don't know what it is on video, but this is my left ear. And they've had some kind of weird device either in my skull or on my skull or in my etheric body. And I lost it. I lost it with them. I'm like, this is too important to me. You are not... I will fight you. If you are I will fight you. And if you're the good ones, I will fight you, because I'm not I'm like, you can take me after I get my ass home. Fine, I'll agree to that for right now. I may say something different afterwards, and we'll see. Just an FYI, if you hear that and you're an ET abductee, and you hear the clicking, and it's a very specific, it's not a fan, it's not a door squeaking, it's not radio, it's not some emergency band on the radio, it's nothing. It's them, and they're talking to each other. Say something. You don't want to go? Speak it. Because you don't have to think it. I was just like, I do not have the patience to be telepathic with you right now. I was not a happy camper. So I said so. I'm like, you want to take me? And then I got told yesterday, the reason why they wanted to abduct me was because I was fertile. And I was... Then I said, oh, so basically why you want to take me is because you want one of my eggs. You have and I kind of lost it over that. I was not a happy camper. But anyway, I digress. My point is that if you are an abductee and you have the ability where you have heard them, and this was not psychic, anybody walking in could have heard this. They would have gone, what the hell is that? I've actually had somebody on video camera during, not a live broadcast, but during a live phone call, video call, actually hear it. And at that time, try to figure out how far away I was from the, was about 20 feet. 10, 15 to 20 feet away at that given moment in time. This was a number of years ago. Hello, Stark Reality. Do you realize they are listening and watching, right? Yes, I know. I know all too frickin' well. When I go live, the government listens. The deep government, deep state, it's not even deep state, it goes beyond deep state. And the ETs listen. I know this. I know it very, very well. So I understand. It's totally fine. I don't care. I'm at this stage in my life where I've fought tooth and nail for different things, regarding different things that I say, and yeah, I know. I'm at this stage where I don't give a shit anymore. So they know if they want to take for that, then they can. I'm not a happy camper about it. I mean, they made it very, very apparent to me as to what I'm willing and not willing. They've been taking my eggs anyway. I mean, I don't have any use for them anymore except for having periods, and I'm going to be blunt about it. Because that's how I am. I'm a blunt person. So, as long as they don't cause me health crisis or cancer or anything like that, then whatever. I was like, oh, they're going to be splicing and dicing again. Isn't that nice? So, yeah, I am like, all right. So who's going to be splicing and dicing, and are they creating hybrid? They've got so many of my eggs, it's not even funny. Over the course of time, they've taken so much from my body, and I'm like, okay, if you're going to take from my body, then frickin' make my body well. Seriously, if you're going to abduct me, then make my body well. Because I have a lot to deal with. A lot that I want to do. I am not done with this life by any stretch of the imagination. So, yeah, I do appreciate your Stark Reality. I do appreciate your comments. Thank you. Anyway, so it's 2:03 a.m. Pacific time, 2:02 on the recording time. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, was all of that stuff regarding forgiveness. And quite honestly, I know I've got a soul contract with one group of ETs. I can understand why I would have done that with them, where they're creating hybrids. I understand that. On one hand, I have a problem with it. On another hand, I don't. The other ones I don't have a soul contract with. Yes, I have. Sorry, somebody was just asking a question. That is a really old bear. Sorry, I've got my TV on, and a picture just came up, and a very old bear with a beautiful background. But anyway, yeah, God would put different. Said, do you pray to God for help? There are times I do. Yeah. Good night, Christine. Thank you for. I very much appreciate you coming and listening in and making comments or asking questions. I very much appreciate that. Thank you. So God will put certain people or certain beings, BEINGS, in my path in order to help in different situations. So, or different angels, different hierarchy in my path. So I do know that when I've asked, I do receive help on it. So, But that's the other thing is that you've got to ask and you've got to know to ask. That is huge. Just huge. So, of course, this was one. Christine. Of course, this was one. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you've enjoyed. Simon, fantastic show, Nikki. Dinner time at Likeable Headquarters. You're all so awesome. Thanks again. Get some good rest. See you in the next one, everyone. Yeah, next week. I'm hoping. Well, okay. I know for sure I will be doing next week. Same time frame, but it's very possible I may do one. It depends on how I'm feeling. I may do one Thursday night into Friday, wee morning hours. And I typically do it that way because a lot of people are looking for, late night chat rooms, which is originally how this show got started. There was information I was consistently since 2018 and 2019 being told, oh, you ought to do a YouTube. You ought to create a YouTube channel. Well, I didn't do it until 2022. And there were a lot of topics of conversation. So that was, and then the ET thing that really, wow, really started picking up even further. So there was a lot to talk about. And a lot of that has been talked about, but more information does come to pass, so to speak. Some things I haven't talked about yet, other things I have talked about, but then I get further into the subject. So basically what you get on some of my shows is you get some of the top layers of in-depth before you get the bottom layers of the in-depth. And that's just part and parcel because of how I think, and then because of how fast sometimes the chat goes or how slow the chat goes, the different questions, the conversations between people, different subject matters. Okay, so Stark Reality is asking, what type of ETs are you experiencing? Tall grays? Honey, I've experienced 7 different races / species. I've witnessed over 20. Way over 20. So there are different forms of reptilians. Try this again. There are different forms of reptilians I've experienced. There's different forms of grays I've experienced. There are Arcturians that I've experienced. There's the blue ones. And not all reptilians are bad. Just an FYI. Just like not all grays are bad. It's okay. ETs are like how we are human-wise. There's humans who are good. And this is how I classify the ETs. There are ones that are good, there are ones that are bad, and then there are ones that are indifferent. Same way with humans. So it's very much at that level. There are so many different kinds of mentality with ETs, different races of ETs. Each race of ET has its own mentality. Now, when you get into the species or the subspecies of them, you're dealing with a whole different mindset. I'm like, oh my God. But what I've noticed in the ufology community is that everybody lumps them all into one. And I mean all races as one. And it's not. They're not that at all. So that said, so let's see, we've had Numerous different types of grays, numerous different types of reptilians, numerous different types of Lyran. Lyran is the felines. That also goes into Laborian, which is a different type of feline. I'm missing 3. Why can't I think of them? Owls. There's a form of owls. There's a form of there's another form that's human. They look human, but they are not human by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, mine are a blessing and a curse, says Stark Reality. Yeah, same here. So just it makes things interesting. I can't think of the stress. Anyway, it's all right. It's just because I'm tired. So that is hey Bomber. How you doing, sweetie? Nordic, yes. Yeah, I'm my brain is just like phew. And then there's a race on there's a race of ET outside of Ireland, the country of Ireland. They have their own hidden island. Stark, they are here and it's tough. Who can we seek out to help us from these creatures? I beg God and God will. I don't know. Well, the good ones you don't want to really mess with. And I found out from R. Keith Andrews, because I honestly believed a number of years ago. Okay, I gotta move again because my tailbone tailbone is causing sciatica. Just a second, guys. Ooh, da, 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 da. Okay, hang on a minute. Let me go back. There we go. And okay. And move this back. There we go. So, oh crap. See, now I'm tired and I can't think straight now. There's so many. Who can we seek out to help us? Okay, so that's where I was going with this. So basically, regarding the ETs, depends on the race. That's what I was going to say. R. Keith Andrews. So check out his. I will. If you check back in about 6 hours or 8 hours, I will have the timestamps on here on this broadcast. And in the broadcast will be a link to R. Keith Andrews' YouTube page. Check him out. The man knows his stuff when it comes to ETs. Yeah, I'd have to do a lot of stretching in order to make it work. And then I've got to do a lot of the massage on the legs, calves, so that everything works properly. So R. Keith Andrews has information as to the names of the races. I don't retain, my brain has never, not even as a child, has ever retained, and plus the fact that I've not been allowed to remember, the names of the races or the species or subspecies of races of ET. He, however, has been allowed to remember that. I can tell you exactly what things look like. And it gets a little creepy into how much detail I remember on them. And then you get moments to where you get really pissy because the ETs will try their. This is what I was going to say earlier. Certain races, I used to state that all races of ET are telepathic. And I found out from R. Keith Andrews, no, they're not. Not all races are. And I was like, okay, so the ones that I've experienced have been. Not all of them. And that's when I realized that not all of them have been telepathic. But I was led to believe they were. That was the difference. Well, that's a whole nother mindset in and amongst itself. And it's very frustrating. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a 15-minute warning because we're at 2 hours and 15 minutes. 2 hours and 30 is my max. I did a 3-hour last time. I want to keep it at 2 hours and 30 minutes. So I'm giving you guys a heads up. So regarding Stark Reality, the question, who can we seek out help from? You can ask your spirit guides. You can also ask angels. There are angels. And you can also make a demand. I don't say that very often, and this is probably one of the very few times that you will hear me actually tell you if you're an ET abductee, and this is only if you're an ET abductee. But you have to understand, in making a demand, there are consequences in making a demand from to the other side. It's a very, very big deal. So just be aware of that. Okay, that said, I have got to have something to drink. And Bomber says, I don't retain names either, human or alien. Yeah, I can understand that. They have been with me and controlling my life from birth. They take care of me, but make me earn their benevolence. Bomber says, I only remember Nordics because I think Kara is one. Stark, mine are Nordic-like. Okay. They've killed recently my sister for what they have given me. How can anyone not be telepathic? It's an ability everyone has. I know. Well, okay, Bomber. Humans. I know it's like muscle, use it or lose it, but the whole race isn't telepathic. Are they robots, AI? There are some races that truly are not telepathic. I don't know if it's never taught, if it's like us humans to where they've got it, they don't use it, they lose it. No idea. I just know, and I know he's correct. It was after he said that to me that I started going back through some of my stuff and started realizing that there were certain races that I was led to believe did. And that's why I made the public statement that, yeah, they all do. But I made the realization in some of the memories that I had that it was, God, I was pissed. It was another thing. I mean, being an abductee, it is a process, man. It is a true process. Processing all the information, there's so much of it. Just trying to get through it all. Trying to make sense of what you have of memories versus, my God, did they do this as a dream? Was this dreamlike? Was this real memory? And then they, oh God, the control issues they've got about the person not remembering and how they try to wipe them. Oh my God. There are times where I'm just like, I get so fed up with it. But yeah, I mean, I get it. I totally get it. Controlling, let's see, what did that, yes, I have, and still fighting, thank you. It's quite the mind F. Yeah, I agree, Bomber. Very much. Yeah, I agree. Wholeheartedly agree. I agree with both of you. It's just like, wow. And truly, it becomes very frustrating. And so, I don't know how they do it. I just know that I knew that he was correct. Um, okay. Thank you, Bummer, for asking those, because those were things that I was going to ask, and I couldn't pull it together to ask. So I'm glad you asked. So anyway, it is a huge mind F. I mean, truly. And some are good about things with humans, and others just absolutely are not. It's crazy. Okay, now the lips are going. I gotta do the. Let's see. We got the thirst going. Now we gotta do the lips. Ah, there we go. That's better. Okay, so. Oh my gosh, much better. Um. Ah. Okay, I like them, but do not understand their logic, says Stark Reality. Okay, I'm gonna say something on that. What I've learned is that many different races, not all, but many different races are very legalistic, especially the really old ones who have been like millions of years old. Oh my God. They are very legalistic. Um, and there, a lot of them are the ones who do some serious abducting. Um, so keep that in mind. Very legalistic in their thinking and in their speech. So it's like dealing with an attorney on a regular basis. Keep that in mind when you go to talk to them. Because whatever you say to them, it's almost like whatever is said between you and them becomes a contract. They take it on face value. I mean, it's like, unless you are showing them in your mind telepathically that what you're saying isn't what you believe, they know when you lie. Just abductees, please realize that. They know. And how they know is they can see it right from your mind. So just be aware of that. There is no When you're dealing with a race of ET who communicates with humans solely via telepathy, excuse me. So we've got 6 minutes here, folks. So countdown is going on right now. I just want to be sure that you guys are aware of that. The point is that there's no lying to them. What you say verbally versus what you are thinking mentally in that brain of yours. And if they're two different things, that's how they know you're lying. I would never, ever lie to an ET, no matter what race. Because unless you know for sure that they're telepathic, they will immediately know when you're lying. Don't lie. It's ridiculous to try. Truly, utterly ridiculous to try. So if you're thinking about escaping, I can give you a short synopsis on that. If you're thinking about trying to escape, it's almost laughable, especially if you are on board ship. It's truly, how are you going to get off the ship? Think realistically. You know? Bomber's asking, why would anyone lie to them or anyone else? Or anyone? Because if you're trying to escape and you're trying to get out of their control because they've got you on, I was about to call it a bench, that's not what I mean. They've got you on I call it a medical slab. It's not what it is. It's exactly what it is in human terms, but that's not what they call it. Anyway, and you want to leave, and you're trying to think of anything that you can say. See, it's very different in how to escape them versus, say, somebody that is human who is abducting another human, such as for trafficking. You think of whatever you can to say. You're not expecting that human to be telepathic. So you're going to say whatever you can possibly dream up to say to get out of that situation. Doesn't matter if it's truth or if it's lie. There have been women who have gotten out of rapes because, oh, I'm pregnant. They're screaming, I'm pregnant, don't harm my baby. I mean, I've heard stories like that since the 1980s from about the 1970s. And rapists wouldn't rape a woman who was pregnant. I mean, so there's a mindset. It's different when you're dealing with an ET and you're being abducted and you're thinking about escaping. So it's a completely different ballgame. They know when you are lying. Anything you are, because they can literally see and hear your mind. They're seeing what images you're portraying in your brain at the same time you're speaking or you're thinking at the same time. So, I mean, it's quite the sick and little twisted. Yeah, I've got 2 minutes left, Amy. Thank you. You said 2 hours. Okay, so this is from Amy. You said 2 hours, 30 minutes is your max. Therefore, will max reappear at the end? That is legalistic thinking. Oh, I love it. That's awesome. Thank you, dear. Yeah, Stark Reality says you can't lie to any of them. Yeah, you really can't. I mean, they know. The ones that are telepathic, they know. They know. So, Kind of like the Sims game. They are in it like that. I never would have thought of that. Yeah. Stark Reality, you should hold a live panel on this. This is a real happening to millions of people worldwide. Yeah, I know. I've been told that I should be doing, and that I will be doing, not just should, but that I will be doing in the next year. This year into next year, I'll be on not just panels, but I've been told that I'll be doing conferences. I'll be at Paracons. I pulled you in somehow. Very possible. I've been pulling more people in different ways. So thank you for coming. And actually, I'm at my 2-hour and 30-minute maximum. Bummer. I didn't even consider lying to them. We communicated telepathically, so that would be pointless. Exactly. Okay, folks. Yeah, I was scrolling through and saw your live. I relate. I'm glad you relate. I appreciate you coming in. Please subscribe, and share if you feel that it's doable for the folks that you know and hang out with, and or think that you know that somebody would be interested in my channel and what we talk about. And we talk a lot about a lot of different subjects, usually ET, usually paranormal, usually cryptids, but we do really talk about a wide range, a plethora range of subjects. So anyway, and thank you. I just see that you, Stark Reality, subscribe to my channel. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. And Bummer, you're welcome. She says, thank you for having us. Yeah, that's what I tell everybody. Stark Reality says, thank you for being here and for sharing what you're going through. Know you are not alone. That's exactly what I say. That is exactly, I say that you're not alone. As an ET abductee, I want everybody to understand you are not alone. Don't ever feel that you're alone in being an ET abductee. There are hundreds of thousands to millions of us. I truly and honestly believe that. Please take very good care of yourself. I hope you have a good night, good morning, afternoon, and evening whenever you watch this again. And just a side note, remember that within 6 hours' time, there will be a timestamp on what is talked about. So if you want to go back and listen in to find the subject that you want to listen to, you will be able to do that via the timestamps. I hope you have a very good next few days and into the weekend. Godspeed, everybody. Take very good care. Bye-bye. And thank you for coming and watching. Again, please like, subscribe, and share. Bye, folks. This always takes me a minute how to stop this. I'll be here for another moment. Okay, here we go. Bye, guys. Thank you.